Okay, at this time, I would like to introduce our Salutatorian. This year's Salutatorian is a member of both the National Honor Society and the French National Honor Society, and has received numerous academic commendations, including the Cornell Book Award for Outstanding Achievement in English and the New York State Regents Scholarship. She was also named a National Merit Commended Student by the NMSC. Our Salutatorian has also been involved in a number of activities outside of the classroom. She was captain of both the junior varsity and varsity girls soccer teams, and was a sprinter on the indoor track team for all 4 years at the high school. She also wrote for our school newspaper, tutored through peer leadership, helped out with the school's activities branch, and is the president of our high school Green Club. In line with her interest in the environment, she is a student representative on the Village of Dobbs Ferry Energy Task Force, a committee dedicated to matters of energy, the environment, and transportation in the village. Her musical pursuits include classical piano and the viola, which she plays for the school's orchestra. Next fall, our Salutatorian will continue her studies at Middlebury College in Vermont. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce the Salutatorian of the Dobbs Ferry High School class of 2013, Sarah Koenigsberg.
Good evening. How is that, Mom? Superintendent Brady, Principal Folino, Board of Education members, school faculty, class of 2013, family, and friends. Welcome, and thank you for being here this evening. When Becca and I first found out that we would be speaking at graduation, Becca exclaimed in protest, insisting that we were the two most awkward people in the entire school. So, thank you for the vote of confidence. Being up here is pretty scary, though, mostly because I feel like I'm supposed to say something profound. Now, unfortunately, I'm only 18 years old. I've lived in the same town my entire life, and my favorite pastime is Netflix. So, I don't pretend to have any great insights as to how you all should live your lives so that you're happy or successful. So, I did the only thing I could do, which is look back at what I've experienced and form some sort of conclusion based on what I do know. When I look back at my time at Dobbs Ferry, a ton of fond memories come to mind. I remember hatching chicks in first grade, or our grade's chorus rehearsals when Mr. Sweetlicky would bang on his piano, shouting energy, excitement, enthusiasm. I remember in 5th grade, during lunchtime, we were eating in Springhurst Togan Cafegimatorium when our classmate started singing Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield, and then we all started joining in. And I remember just belting the chorus to this pop song, and as cheesy as this sounds, feeling so much a part of something. I think about how at the end of 5th grade, we went to visit the middle school where we shadowed a 6th grader for a day, and the only advice I recall receiving was to not eat tacos before running the mile. Really good advice, by the way. And I think about how awesome Hack Field Day was our sophomore year because our grade totally won. Oh, and Senior Academy Awards, I mean, the hosts were incredible. Yeah, there are a lot of great memories, but it wasn't always perfect. There were some rough times too. Like how in Springhurst, if you wet your pants, you had to go to the nurse's office and change into these really gross, like crusty donated clothes. Or how the school cookies went from being 15 to 50 cents. Truly devastating. On a more serious note, though, the pressures, whether they were social, academic, familial, we all had them, and they could be tough. So no, I'm not going to stand up here and say that my experience at Dobbs I'm not going to stand up here and say that my experience at Dobbs has been perfect, because that just wouldn't be true. But I will say that it's been really wonderful, because that is true. And I guess that's what I want to say. From what I can tell, nothing is ever perfect, but that doesn't mean that things can't be really great. And I think we should keep this in mind as we're all moving on to the next phase in our lives, because chances are you might not find the perfect job or the perfect college. Everything has its shortcomings, but we shouldn't let that keep us from loving what's really good about them. And this totally applies to all of the new people we're going to meet as well. In the words of Hannah Montana, nobody's perfect. Everyone has some sort of flaw or will do something that annoys you, in addition to all of their positive attributes. And this includes yourself. If you hold people to an impossible standard, you might isolate yourself. And if you hold yourself to an impossible standard, you might just disappoint yourself. Now, you can strive for perfection, just don't expect it, because nothing is perfect, but that doesn't mean it can't be truly great. This speech, for example, definitely not perfect, but I hope you all thought it was okay. A few thank yous are in order before I go. Thank you to all of the school staff, from Springhurst through the high school, the administration, the teachers, the coaches, the custodial staff, the cafeteria staff, security guards, guidance counselors, secretaries, all of you. Thank you so much for making the school run. To all of the parents and guardians of all shapes and forms, thank you for being crazy enough to take on all of us children who often don't appreciate you. Now, parents can be annoying. That's something else I've learned from personal experience. But we still don't deserve everything that you do for us. And finally, to my classmates, thank you for sharing these past 13 years with me. Thank you just for being here and for being you. You've all influenced my experience, because Dobbs is the type of place where that can happen. I wish you the best of luck at whatever you aspire to, and I'm sincerely going to miss all of you, so thank you.